Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Patti Brennan Show. Whether you have $20 or $20 million or $100 million for that matter, what you have is what you have. It's important that you protect it, you grow it, so that you can live your very best life. You know, guys, one of the things I want to do is maybe change the intro because everybody's talking about their best life. Like that seems to be the thing now. And I think it's so important that we put that all in perspective to define what that is and how different it is for everybody, because that's what we get to do. That is what makes this whole process so much fun. So joining me again today is Cathy Saunders. Cathy, oh boy, you guys, wait till you hear her. She is so amazing. So Cathy has been at Putnam Investments for 35 years. She's worn many different hats, and Cathy, maybe you can tell us the current hat that you are wearing.
Sure, Patti. First of all, it's such a privilege to be here with you. I know we've talked an awful lot about doing this. We got a little sidetracked with COVID, but nonetheless, I was so excited when we had a chance to reconvene and talk about doing this podcast. So thank you for having me. And today, I am head of corporate sustainability and public policy for Putnam Investments.
Amazing, just amazing, because that sounds so relevant, especially today. And, you know, when I think about Putnam Investments, of all of the firms that we work with and we partner with, I think Putnam Investments probably has the best business model for enhancing client experiences. Because for those of you who are listening, from the industry perspective, we're sort of Cathy's client, right? So that's the relationship we have. And we, meet with Putnam on an ongoing basis, find out what they're working on, what they've learned, and it really helps us to stay on our game and to introduce the latest and greatest research, and whether it's portfolio approaches or tax approaches. It's just really an important partnership in our business life, and it's such a privilege to have such quality people at Putnam Investments as partners.
Well, thank you so much, Patti. We appreciate it, and I have the honor of being part of just an incredible team here at the firm, people who you work with every single day, Lindsay Lucas, John Cooley, just to name a few. But they're incredible individuals, and there are so many people here who I've worked with for, over half my life, and still learning every single day, and just really, really excited about being here.
So when I think about what you do for us and what we do for our clients, I think about little kids, right? And the bubbles that we would blow when they were toddlers. So I've got some bubbles here in the studio, and I'm going to blow them up in the air just for everybody to see, right? Hopefully this will work. So see them, so they're nice and shiny, and they're blowing in the air. And for those of you who have done this with little children, you'll see that they're up in the air and they're beautiful and shiny, and you run after them, and when you go to grab them, they pop. And that's kind of a bummer, right? And to me, that's a really important metaphor for what you do for us and for what we do for our clients, because it's not just about the shiny bubbles floating in the air. It's got to have substance, because when we're running after that thing, our clients are running after the things that are important to them. They don't want to get to it and have it pop right before their very eyes. And so, to me, the client experience is just so important to have substance, to do the things that we say we're going to do, to really create an experience that they will never forget, to give them that confidence, that financial freedom, so that they can go and live their lives the way that they were meant to live. So let's start off, Cathy. Why don't you share with me and all of us who are listening today, the building blocks for a great client experience?
Patti, it's a great question. I know we touched on this a little bit earlier before we went live here, but first off, I would just say one of the biggest privileges I've had here at the firm is I've been a beneficiary of some of the best training on Wall Street. And it's training that started from the very first day that I came here, and training that happens every single day. We're very much an apprenticeship, if you will, culture. and a collaborative culture in every single way. But there's some building blocks that we learned from the very beginning that have proven to be everlasting over time. And one of the first things that I learned is there's 4 things that you need to do every single day to provide excellent and superior client service. Number 1, show up on time. Number 2, do what you say. Number 3, finish what you start. And number 4, say please and thank you. Now, you're probably thinking, none of those things are innovative. None of those things are disruptive technology. None of those things are this massive, brilliant, life-changing idea. And that's true. But can you do those 4 things consistently over time? Can you do it for a week? Can you do it for a month? Can you do it over a 5-year period? Can you do it over a 10-year period? Can you do it over an entire career? And it has to be something that you can take and make sure that it's everlasting, that it's enduring, and that it can serve the test of time. Those are 4 behaviors that you have to have, and delivered consistently over time will provide superior customer service over time.
And you're right, Cathy. It sounds so basic, right? But again, that's how trust is developed. You have to earn it. It's not something that is just given arbitrarily. It's something that is built over time. And you do those 4 things and people are going to trust you because you show up on time. You do what you say you're going to do. I don't even remember all 4 of them, but they just make so much sense to me. And for some of us, it's just intuitive, and for other people, it's not, because they get distracted. They're chasing after that next shiny thing. They think it's the technology. They think it's this or that. And really, in the end, it's about the relationship. It's about talking and really, it's not even talking, it's listening. And I'm not just talking about listening for listening's sake. People don't want to just be listened to, Cathy. They want to be heard. And when we listen and when we hear people, then it allows those 4 things to just fall into place. Because when we're hearing our clients, whether it be sharing the things that they aspire to or the things that they're worried about, then we get to fill the gaps in their life because everybody's got them. And that's what we get to do, is to hear what's going on in their lives. And that's a moving target. It's like we talked about before. This is ever changing. Client lives are always, changing with whether it be tax laws or markets, but more importantly, things that are happening in their lives, whether they're insecure about their jobs or they're worried about their adult children or, somebody is drinking more than they should drink. This is real life. And when we get to be real and we hear what's on our clients' minds, then we get to solve real problems. Again, it's not the shiny bubble. These are real issues that people go through every single day. And, after 30 plus years, we kind of know how to solve them. And if we don't know how to do it, I call Putnam. And I say, hey, Cathy Saunders, we got A, B, and C going on. Do you know anybody that could help us with this? I mean, it's just really incredible. Even, I think back to some of the issues and the questions that we had. You go back to the Ukraine war. And, I think about, I don't know anything about war and the impact that it could have economically worldwide. I don't know anything about Russia and Putin and all of that. So we make a phone call to Cathy Saunders and Putnam, and you introduce us to certain people for a podcast. That was really, really neat because we get to learn right alongside with our clients, and what a privilege that is. So the thing about all of this is that, again, we are hearing what's going on in our clients' lives to enhance their life experiences. Again, they're not their money. They're not their portfolio. Yes, their portfolio is important. Performance is important. I get it because that, either builds or it detracts. And we got to be real. That they're going to lose money on paper from time to time. Tell them in advance. At least that's what I try to do. In fact, before they even become a client, we're running those scenarios. We're not shooting from the hip here. We are running numbers based on their personal situation, their cash flow, their tax, what their wills and trusts actually say, not what they think that they say. So let's show them on paper the implications of decisions that have already been made. And by the way, if this terrible thing that we're all worried about actually occurs, would they be okay? Because if they won't, let's do what's necessary to remove or at least reduce the impact of whatever that thing could be. Loss of job, an illness, you name it, it's happened. Let's be ready.
Patti, all of those things are so relevant, and if you really think about it, your clients need to like you, respect you, and trust you. And the way that you build that respect and trust is through transparency and reporting back on, when things are working, absolutely, but when things aren't working, and if there's impact to a portfolio that they need to know about, they need to know that they can trust you and that you're going to be fully transparent and have an opportunity to manage those expectations before it happens.
100%. It's the clarity that brings it all together. It's the impact. Yes, it has happened. So what are we going to do about what's happened? That's the most important thing. For them to know that we're on it, we're well aware of the impact. We were aware of what could happen even before it happened, and we got it. We got this. So, and that over time, to me, I don't know about you, Cathy, but I find that the most important times are not when things are going well. It's when they're not. And when we're sending out an email, we're on the phone with them, we're touching base. That really means a lot because, to your point, we're showing up. We're not hiding in our offices. We're not pretending that things are wonderful because they're not. It's the pits. And to recognize that and be real, and yet to be able to have the clarity and that steady hand to say, we've been through this before. Yes, the catalyst was different. We never know when these things are going to happen, but we know what to do when it does. So we're going to go through this together, and we will get to the other side together.
Patti, you're so right, and it reminds me of the importance of context, right? I mean, we're sucked into a 24/7 news cycle that really keeps us focused on what's happening right now, which, yes, is relevant, but in the broader context of a plan that's been put in place for a lifetime, isn't as relevant as the news would lead us to believe.
And so, we think about context, and we can apply this to any industry, right? So let's talk about the Four Seasons as the example that you and I were talking about before we went on live.
Well, Patti, it's so funny that you bring up the Four Seasons, because if you think about a franchise that is playing at the highest levels of the game in customer service, this has to be a business and an enterprise that is front of mind from start to finish. And it's interesting, we had an opportunity to meet Scott Tabor, who is Senior Vice President and Head of Global Hospitality for the Four Seasons Hotels and Resorts. So he's responsible for the client experience, whether you're staying at a Four Seasons hotel, whether you're at a Four Seasons resort, or whether you're in the air flying on one of the Four Seasons aircraft as well. And it's interesting just to hear his insight, because he says that the Four Seasons client experience ignites and goes into overdrive when things go wrong. So getting back to this whole idea, when things are working, you don't really think about client service. But boy, when you your cell phone at the airport, or if you forgot a ring light and you have to do a podcast or a video call the next day, this is when the Four Seasons really shines. And as a matter of fact, he talked about a guest who checked into their Georgetown property, and as soon as he checked in, he realized that he left his cell phone at the gate in the Dulles airport. Within 10 minutes, there was a Four Seasons employee in the car on their way to Dulles airport to try to find this phone. No surprise, they found it, brought it back to the client. And it also is no surprise that whenever this client has an option of where they're going to stay, it's going to be at the Four Seasons every single time. So usually we think about the client experience when things are working. The best people who are delivering the client experience, think about it in the context of when things are moving in a different direction and maybe not really moving exactly as planned. So those are some of the things that happen behind the scenes at the Four Seasons, and there is nothing that feels more luxurious than the art of anticipation and anticipating what's going to happen for that client or that who's staying as a guest in the hotel. Just the whole idea that you've got a full staff and team behind you that is predicting what you're going to need next, and there's nothing that feels more luxurious and better than just that. And it really reminds me of some of the things that we see in our environment and in every single business today. There's so many analytics that are available and so much data that is available to us today. It really helps inform what clients need more than ever, and it really helps influence what that next best action should be when we're providing client service to our customers.
And your point is an excellent point. First of all, as a sidebar, I did not know that the Four Seasons had aircraft. That's pretty cool. I can't imagine what an amazing client experience that probably is. And to your point about predictive analytics, there's so much data, but data is meaningless unless we can apply it to a client situation and use it to give them some clarity of potential impact, good and bad. And so that's the neat thing about some of the tools that we've learned about even just this year. It's just like I learn about something new every single week, and we apply, we test it, we make sure that it's not creating a fairy tale, and then we learn. Because this is a learning business. It's a learning business, it's a knowing business, but most importantly, it's a doing business. What are we going to do about it? How are we going to use it to impact our clients' lives, impact the experience that they're having with our firm? So, Cathy Saunders, I can't thank you enough for your time today. I love your stories, your experience. We have learned so much about enhancing client experiences and what to do when because of our relationship with Putnam Investments. So thank you so much for your time today. I hope you have a safe flight to Washington, D.C., and thank you for everything that you do for my firm as well as the entire industry.
Patti, it was such a pleasure to be with you today. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
And thanks to all of you who have tuned in again today. Thank you for watching. Hope you like the bubble action. That was kind of fun to do. If you have any questions, please go to our website at keyfinancialinc.com. Let us know what you thought. Let us know if there's a topic that you'd like to learn about. We're going to be doing more of the Ask Patti Brennan series because a lot of you have given us feedback that you really like those short, to the point, this is the issue, here's how to think about it. So we're going to be doing a lot more of those, and I appreciate the feedback that you're liking that approach as well. So I hope you all have a wonderful day, and again, thank you to Putnam Investments and Cathy Saunders for your insights, your experience, and your wisdom. Take care.